feed my sheep. Now we both know. And I tell you, when you were young, you went where you wanted and you did what you wanted to do. You were your own guy. But when you're old, you're going to go. There are going to be men that take hold of you and lead you where you don't want to go and make you do something you don't want to do. And the text says that was Jesus was prophesying over him how he would glorify God by his death. And it sounds depressing. You know, Jesus prophesies Peter's martyrdom at the end of his restoration speech. That sounds like a downer, you know. But really, he's saying to Peter, at the end of the day, you are going to have what you wanted. You're going to have faithfulness that even unto death. And he did. And so Peter had to come to face the reality that it was Jesus' commitment that would strengthen him, not his own. Jesus will carry you. And his only caveat on that whole thing is stay in the place of prayer. Your spirit's willing, your flesh is weak. He knows that. That's why he could be the only hero. That's why he said to the disciples, you can't follow me where I have to go. I'm the only one that can do this thing. But now because I've defeated it, now I can empower you. And you'll be faithful at the end of the day.
Can I ask the next obvious question?
Please, come up here.
So let's say someday I'm on the mission field, and they're like I'm being pressured. They're going to torture me, terrible things, lock me in a cell for 30 years and do terrible things to me unless I don't deny the name of Jesus. My worst fear is that on year 15, I'm going to lose hope and be like, I can't take it anymore. I deny Jesus. So I lose my salvation, right? Like, I think about this a lot. So I'm just like wondering, like, because I read that verse and it's like, oh my gosh, I really got to get strong. Like,
yeah, no, you don't.
I don't want to deny Jesus.
Yeah, you won't. Because he says, Paul says it this way. He says, I know whom I've believed. I know the one I've believed in, and that he is able to keep the things that I've committed to him against that day. He keeps you. You don't have to keep you. He keeps you. He will keep you in that place. Read St. John of the Cross, because St. John of the Cross, he was a little tiny Spanish monk. And he fell in love with Jesus, and he started to have incredible revelations of Jesus that were so astonishing and scandalous that he became an object of persecution in the Catholic Church. They said no one can know Jesus like that. It's too scandalous, it's too intimate. It's not right to use that kind of language to talk about the Lord. And so they threw him in prison and beat him. And he suffered long and hard. And all of his poetry, he's widely considered to be the greatest Spanish poet ever. Not just Christian poet, greatest Spanish poet ever. And all of his stuff was written in prison in a tiny little cell that had one little rectangular window that he was too short to look out of. And he would see the reflection of the sunlight come through that little tiny window and meditate on the glory of God. And he wrote poetry in that prison cell that has ignited the world of contemplative believers for 400 years. Freedom, absolutely.
All right. I was wondering, I know there's 3 types of loves, esro, phileo, and agape, but I was wondering, to the fallen body, to our human nature, we will never be able to obtain or reach agape love to the fullest, because that's only God, correct? And so we are in phileo love, but we strive towards agape love in our lifestyle towards Christ. I was just wondering.
That's the goal for us, because that's the promise of Jesus in his prayer in John 17. That's why he says, Father, here's what I want for them. I want the love that you have for me to be in them. And so his promise is, as we pursue him and continue on the journey, that he will actually infuse agape love into us. There will come a time, here, there, whenever.
All right.
There will come a time. And the testimony of some is that there are saints in the earth who pursued it to such a degree that under the most severe pressures, their first reaction was love. They actually got transformed into that place where their first response was love. They didn't have to step back and go find it someplace.
Right.
You know. So we don't have to be satisfied with phileo love. We can't generate it alone, but it's his promise that as he indwells in us and infuses us with his presence, that will be our inheritance. So meditate on John 17. That'd be a good prayer to meditate on. Good. Anyone else? Thanks much. Bless you guys. See you this afternoon.